Friday of the 7th week in Ordinary Time.
A reading from the letter of St. James. Do not complain, brothers and sisters, about one another, that you may not be judged. Behold, the judge is standing before the gates. Take as an example of hardship and patience, brothers and sisters, the prophets who spoke in the name of the Lord. Indeed, we call blessed those who have persevered. You have heard of the perseverance of Job, and you have seen the purpose of the Lord, because the Lord is compassionate and merciful. But above all, my brothers and sisters, do not swear either by heaven, or by earth, or with any other oath, but let your yes mean yes, and your no mean no, that you may not incur condemnation. The word of the Lord.
The responsorial psalm. The response is, "The Lord is kind and merciful." Bless the Lord, O my soul, and all my being bless his holy name. Bless the Lord, O my soul, and forget not all his benefits. The Lord is kind and merciful. He pardons all your iniquities. He heals all your ills. He redeems your life from destruction. He crowns you with kindness and compassion. The Lord is kind and merciful. Merciful and gracious is the Lord, slow to anger and abounding in kindness. He will not always chide, nor does he keep his wrath forever. The Lord is kind and merciful. For as the heavens are high above the earth, so surpassing is his kindness toward those who fear him. As far as the east is from the west, so far has he put our transgressions from us. The Lord is kind and merciful.
A reading from the Holy Gospel according to Mark. Jesus came into the district of Judea and across the Jordan. Again, crowds gathered around him, and, as was his custom, he again taught them. The Pharisees approached him and asked, "Is it lawful for a husband to divorce his wife?" They were testing him. He said to them in reply, "What did Moses command you?" They replied, "Moses permitted a husband to write a bill of divorce and dismiss her." But Jesus told them, "Because of the hardness of your hearts he wrote you this commandment. But from the beginning of creation, God made them male and female. For this reason a man shall leave his father and mother, and be joined to his wife, and the two shall become one flesh. So they are no longer two, but one flesh. Therefore what God has joined together, no human being must separate." In the house the disciples again questioned Jesus about this. He said to them, "Whoever divorces his wife and marries another commits adultery against her. And if she divorces her husband and marries another, she commits adultery." The Gospel of the Lord.
Friday of the 7th week in Ordinary Time. The first reading comes from the letter of James, chapter 5, verses 9 to 12. James gives a series of instructions. He's reaching the end of his letter, and very often in Christian letters there's a paranesis towards the end. Paranesis, a quick series of instructions on how to live the Christian life. For example, don't judge others, let God judge. That's God's job. We don't know what gifts others have received. We don't know what weaknesses they received. We don't know their motivations. Leave it to God to judge. Have patience and perseverance like that of Job. Now realistically, we have the saying, the patience of Job, but he really was only patient for 2 chapters, and then he moans and groans for 38 chapters. Nevertheless, the idea of perseverance, that even though the fulfillment of the promises of God seems to take forever, we trust. And then finally, let your yes be yes and your no be no. Don't be wishy-washy. Be a person of integrity. The Gospel is from Mark 10, 1 to 12. This is one of the Gospel passages that condemns divorce. In the Jewish faith, people were allowed to divorce a wife, and sometimes on very flimsy grounds. The rabbi said, if your wife displeases you, then you can divorce her. And the question was, what does displease mean? And the answer is she burns your meals once. So Jesus is trying to protect women and also to protect the bond of unity, the covenant that a man has made to his wife and the wife has made to her husband. Jesus says, right from the beginning of creation, we were intended to be one flesh. That's why a man leaves his father and mother and goes to live with a wife. Notice, this represents a period in Israel's history when society was matriarchal, based upon the woman's role as opposed to patriarchal. We also see a bit of that matriarchal spirit in the fact that how is one a Jew? Through inheritance of the mother, not the father. Jesus condemns divorce and says anyone who divorces a woman and marries someone else commits adultery. Now this is Jesus' teaching. It's very clear he made this teaching. It appears in Mark and Luke and twice in Matthew. So this is clearly something that Jesus said. But how do we apply this rule in today's society? That's something that Pope Francis has been challenging us on. It is clear that divorce is wrong, but once that wrong has been committed, is there a way to make it better? Is there a pastoral way that we can apply this teaching to the lives of everyday people? And may God bless us.